Good evening and welcome to Wisdom Walk here on Black Hole Radio and my YouTube channel, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. I am your host and guide, Jojapa Maria Ensaroma. And this December is the third and final fire month in this mind-blowing mineral year of clarity, confidence, and courage. You know, in many places around the world, 'tis the season to be jolly and to remember our humanity through religious holidays and festivals, and most importantly, to participate in the spirit of giving. The year 2020 heralds the beginning of a new decade and era that promises radical and dynamic evidence of human evolution on this planet. My theme for the month is preparing for 2020. So to close out 2019 reverently, I'm inviting you to join me for a spiritual and emotional healing through 5 personal challenges using the Dagara Medicine Wheel. In this broadcast, I will spill on the challenge to remember purpose. But first, for those of you who may be listening or watching for the first time, welcome, and let me give you a brief overview about Wisdom Walk. This is a personal development resource for your mind, body, and soul. My ministry is any pain that is not transformed will be transferred. So the essential goal of my programs is to enable you to recognize and release any and all pain that is blocking you from having your happy endings in life, or what I like to call your fulfillment in life as well. So every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern, I broadcast live here on Black Hole Radio unless I'm on hiatus or some technical difficulty occurs. And if for some reason, if you're using your internet and you have a problem with it, a blip comes up with the Wi-Fi, know that you can listen to this live podcast at the following phone number. It's area code 563-999-3089. Again, that's 563-999-3089. Or if for some reason you just don't want to be in front of a computer screen or have your computer on, you can just listen to it on your phone. Now, I will upload a video of this broadcast on Tuesdays on my YouTube channel, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. And you can ask questions or share comments by going to my website, which is www.wisdomwalktoselfmastery.com. And there you will see how to contact me through email. Or if you are watching this as a YouTube, you can, of course, leave comments and ask questions in the comments box below. But right now, I ask you to sit and lay back and join me for an exploration of the inner landscape where you can connect to your soul and discover the true reason for your humanity. Yeah. So I always open up every show, and this one is no different, by honoring the ancestors. And since we are focusing tonight on remembering purpose, I, of course, want to call up those ancestors to support us with that. So, again, ancestors are people who lived on the earth plane but are no longer here. They could be blood related or not. It's just whoever you have a connection to. And so we're going to call those people's names out, going to call on them. I grew up with Christmas, and so I have wonderful memories of my family at Christmas time. That's when everybody was sane. And so I'm thinking about my grandma and grandpa, Frank and Lillian Brown. I'm thinking about my mom, Dolores Matthews, God bless her, in heaven. And thinking about my Aunt Alice. Thinking about all my uncles and aunts who are no longer here. And you go through the litany of names, all the neighbors who are no longer here, like Miss Tina, on and on. And so there's a lot of ancestors that we can call on at this time. So join me as I do invoke them and ask them for their loving guidance and support for this important work of remembering purpose. Creator, Mother, Father, God, Source, all the one, all that is, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you for your blessing and your mercy in our lives and for yet another opportunity to open our minds, our hearts, and our spirits to your greater will. Creator, we are so grateful to have this opportunity to step into our higher consciousness and to want to be living a life of purpose. And so we're calling out to our ancestors, and we asked you to send these great emissaries of yours to be with us, above us, below us, behind us, in front of us, beside us, as we are opening ourselves to this remembering and ultimately living on higher purpose. And so ancestors, we call out to you, and we're asking and thanking you to come and support us either in remembering our purpose, and for those of us who have remembered it, to guide us on the path of living in higher purpose. For we truly cannot do this alone. We need this non-physical and supreme help. And so we're calling on you, who can see in all directions at once, you for whom problems here are not problems there, to be with us, to be close to us, and to guide us, to love us, and to really enable us to be the bigger part of ourselves that we all can choose to be. And so once again, ancestors, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you for your loving presence in our lives. And to you, Creator, thank you so much for these great emissaries. And of course, ask and thank you in the name of all that is holy for this blessing of the ancestors. And I say, Amen. Ashe, Aho, Asa, Shinga, Bismillah, and so it is. Ashe, Ashe. What a week. What a week we just had. And what a week we have going on. You know, this is a really, really powerful week. And so I want to share with you some of the elemental wisdom for this week to help guide you, as well as some of the astrological, astronomical stuff that is going on. It really is mind-blowing. So if you're kind of feeling a little lethargic, it may not just be from shopping for the holidays to get gifts and to prepare food. It may be because of all this energy that is hitting the earth plane at this time and in this way, and all of the astrological stuff. It's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I do want to say that I am a Star Wars fan, and I did get to see the last installment of this spectacular work of art that started in 1977, and I did go see it in May of 77 at the Lowe's Astor Plaza on 44th Street in Manhattan. Very reluctantly at first. I wanted to see another movie, but it had already started, and as I got online for Star Wars, were cab drivers going by saying, "Oh, you're gonna love it, you're gonna love it." And so me and my friend got really excited, and of course by the time we got in there, at the end of the first time we saw, because back in the day you could just for a ticket stay in the movies all day if you wanted, but we were at the edge of our seats yelling, "Use the Force, Luke, use the Force." And so it's been like a 42-year journey of George Lucas to bring this saga to its conclusion. And so I went and saw The Rise of Skywalker, and I just loved it. I cried for the last hour. There's controversy because there are some fans, and I think these are newer fans. I don't know. I think it might be newer people, because the complaints that they have about it, to me, are so not necessary because of what Star Wars is. And you know, because I'm old school, so back in the day when Star Wars came out, it was nothing like it. And probably the biggest piece about Star Wars that I don't think people understand enough or get is that when you wanted a morality story, you went to watch Bambi or Pinocchio, or, it was Walt Disney. It's like it was like a children's thing. And what Star Wars did is it brought morality story and integrated into some very high spiritual concepts and higher consciousness concepts into an adult arena. And it was just mind-blowing. Then you add on it, all these special effects and special sound. Like, we've never heard sound like that in a movie theater before. George Lucas created a sound system, the Skywalker sound system. And so it was just really, really mind-blowing. And he's ushered in, his legacy is that now, all the Marvel movies, and thanks to Stan Lee, are all morality plays. And what's a morality play? You can Google it, but basically it's an ancient art where people put on these plays. They call them passion plays too, because they did use the Bible. This is like, but also that was in England. But before that, even in Greece, they would do these plays where they were talking about good versus evil. And of course, goes back to Africa, when people would sit around the fire and the storytellers, the griots, would be, spinning these tales, many times about Anansi the spider, to give people an understanding about the difference between good and bad, and that there are consequences for your behavior. And again, so those are morality stories. And so, to me, Star Wars is that it's a modern depiction of a morality play, and this one does it really, really well. So don't pay any attention to critics who aren't really fans and who don't have a literary background like I do, because they don't really know how to judge it or understand it. And that's okay, but please do not be deterred from getting a wonderful, wonderful, and especially for the times we are living in, some wonderful messages that we need about who we are as human beings and what is really important in our lives. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So I saw that just this Friday, so I'm still buzzed about it. And we are now on Tuesday, elementally, going to enter into a mineral week. Yeah, which is why I am dressed in white. That is the color of the medicine. And I'm going to, of course, be talking about the mineral energies when I, in just a few minutes, talk about remembering purpose. So from this Tuesday, the 24th, also Christmas Eve, through Monday, the 30th, we will be in this mineral week. And here's the opportunity for you. It's about giving support. Doesn't that make sense? Yeah. Pay it forward. Be an inspiration. Offer assistance without expecting anything material in return. Demonstrate your ability to be generous, compassionate, considerate, and trustworthy. Invoke the generative, nourishing, and abundant universal love energy of the mineral element to be of service to others. In doing this in a humble and a balanced way, you'll be gifting your soul with unconditional love. Yes, yes, yes. So, so important. So, in this mineral week, giving support, being able to really remember your purpose as a human is that not only can we receive support, but we can give it. So here are a couple of things that you want to look out for so that you are not going to be too distracted off of this process. And one of the big ones is complaining. It's very easy to find stuff to complain about, especially this week. Especially this time of year, right? Try to avoid that. If you find yourself going down that road, just stop and ask yourself, how is that really going to change anything? What is it really doing for you emotionally, physically? And what's a better use of your time and energy? Because if you're complaining about somebody who's not doing the right thing, pray for them. Leave it up to God. Don't think that your job is to take on trying to get them to get it. They've got to get it when it's time for them to get it. So if you stop complaining, you're going to have more energy to just be loving, and first of all, to yourself. The next one is about expecting others to be able to do what it is that you can do. There's a lot of times we do get hung up in that, and we have this expectation. I call it a one-way bargain, that if I do this, then that means that person is going to do it back to me. No, doesn't happen that way. Doesn't happen that way. So just watch out for that. You know, if you're going to do something, do it because it works for you. Do it because it makes you feel good inside. Do it because it's for you the right thing to do. And know that your reciprocity will come in ways you can't imagine. Don't hold somebody else accountable for what only God can do. And then last but not least, again, and it's in alignment with that expecting others to do what you can do, is that fear of not being compensated or appreciated for your efforts. Again, keep it in, keep it in. Do it because it works for you. When you do that, right away, you're being compensated. Right away, you're being compensated. Now, if it's a situation where you really need to be compensated, but this is a person that maybe you can't trust, or an organization you can't trust, don't work with them. That's as simple as that. Like, leave it alone. Go someplace that you know you can be acknowledged and appreciated and compensated. You know, but don't try to get blood from a turnip. Yeah, put yourself in that situation. Not okay, not okay. And next Wednesday, the 1st of January, isn't that amazing already? Like, next Wednesday is going to be the 1st of January. My God, 2020, here we are. And the elemental wisdom is that because the 1st falls on a Wednesday, the new elemental week will begin from a Wednesday through a Tuesday. So, and New Year's always kicks off with a water day, water week, in a water month. Yeah, lots of releasing. Good time to make those annual commitments. And I'll tell you all about that in the next broadcast. So, moving right along into the astronomical forecasts and also happenings. There are some happenings. I mean, this is a really potent and powerful week, again, for deep change. Everything that's going on is signaling great change, deep change, shifting up. You know, releasing, letting go of the old paradigms, the old things that can no longer sustain us, can no longer work in our favor. And that's both at a personal level, an individual level, as well as a familial level, as well as a national level, and definitely on a global level. Yeah. So, first thing you need to know is that the comet Borisov, and this is a new comet that it's not new, but it was discovered newly in August, on the 30th of August of this year, by a Crimean amateur astronomer, and the name is Gennady Borisov, and so that's why he got his comet named after him, because he found it. And it's the first known interstellar comet coming from a different galaxy. It's closest to our planet, and that would be 290 million kilometers away, on December the 28th. So, as you know, comets always back in the day, in ancient times, mythically meant a sign of something that was coming. And at first it was a heartbreak. You know, it's a bad thing. It's not good news. It's like bad news is coming. But it really, I believe, is just about change is coming. And change is always frightening. But so on the 28th, you may be feeling it already now, because he's coming closer. But he'll do his flyby of us dropping cosmic interstellar dust, you know, just like Apophis, that meteor that came by. This is like 2 in a month. It's incredible. So just know that energy is definitely going on. The other cosmic astronomical energy that I would like you to be aware of is called the Ursid's meteor showers. And it's most active, these meteor showers, tonight on the 22nd and through Christmas Eve on the 24th. Now, I didn't really understand what meteor showers really meant and what's it coming from, so I did a little digging and I wanted to share this with you. I found that from the earliest times, humankind has noticed flurries of meteors that seem to emanate from points in the sky at a particular time of year. These flurries, now called meteor showers, are produced by small fragments of cosmic debris entering the Earth's atmosphere at extremely high speeds. Now, each time a comet swings by the sun, it produces large amounts of small particles which will eventually spread out along the entire orbit of the comet to form what they call a meteoroid stream. If the Earth's orbit and the comet's orbit intersect at some point, then the Earth will pass through this stream for a few days at roughly the same time each year, producing a meteor shower. Meteor showers are usually named for the constellation in which their radiant lies at the time of the shower maximum, meaning, time when it's the most fullest. So basically, if you could imagine this comet circling the galaxy, right? Going around the galaxy and going around the sun and leaving a trail of particles. And then here's the Earth coming into, maybe it's just passing like this, on its orbit. And that's how we get these meteor showers. It's like really, really quite fascinating. So that's, again, starting tonight. And again, this again is cosmic debris. This is stuff coming from the outer limits and coming into our atmosphere. So it's bringing something. And again, like I said, just change, lots and lots and lots of change. Yeah. So the big astrological news this week is about the new moon in Capricorn and annual solar eclipse combined. So this is going to happen on, depending on where you're at, like for me here out on the Pacific Coast, it's going to be Wednesday, December 25th on Christmas at about 9:13 p.m. And if you're on the East Coast, it'll be 13 minutes after midnight on the 26th. So I looked up my astrologers that I like and I got some interpretation of this for you. So the first one is from Lena Stevens, whose website is thepowerpath.com. And Lena says the new moon and eclipse serve as the portal to launching the energies of potential for this next year. Despite how busy with distractions you might find yourself on this day, it is important to honor the beginning by this beginning, she says, by treating it as a time of opening up a new and interesting path of possibilities. Wow, that's a great Christmas gift. Yeah, I like that. She asked, what would you like to change in your life? What would you love to manifest? And where do you need help? Yeah, like super, super cool. Then Barbara Goldsmith, the other astrologer that I like, she says that right now there are 6 planets in Earth signs, making this an ideal opportunity to reevaluate everything in your material world. How much do you really need, she asks. Can you give some things away? All this Capricorn energy suggests that the era of materialism, more, may be coming to an end. I don't think it's may. I think it truly is coming to an end. She says, if great wealth were the secret to happiness, celebrities and film stars wouldn't be taking their lives and resorting to drugs and alcohol. Big, important statement. So she asks, how can you make the best of what you've been given? No matter how hard a situation is, it is probably a gift for you to grow through. Ask yourself, how can I creatively make the best use of the resources that I have? I love that. Great, great wisdom. And then one last more message for you from Astro Butterfly. She's astrobutterfly.com. On December 27th, she says, and this is right after, of course, the eclipse that we're going to have, the new moon eclipse. She says, the sun is conjunct Jupiter in Capricorn. And she says a new Sun and Jupiter synodic cycle, and a synodic cycle is basically when Jupiter returns to what we call its starting point for us, doing its rotation around the sun. Okay, so it's you know, it's arbitrary for us. We made it up, but we do consider it just starting on the 27th, and it begins in the aftermath of the solar eclipse. She says the sun is our personal identity, and Jupiter is the higher truth. This is a good time to examine our beliefs. Are they still valid? Do they still reflect the person we've become? Wow. Yeah. Like big stuff. Big, 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 nice stuff. Big, 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 nice stuff. So again, a lot of change, a lot of change energy is there for you. Stay conscious with it and use it to really move forward in your life in a conscious and significant way. Now, of course, this week too holds three major, both religious and cultural celebrations on the planet. And first is Hanukkah, which starts today, goes through the 30th. This is an 8-day Jewish festival of lights, it's called, and it remembers the rededication of a second Jewish temple in Jerusalem in Israel that happened 160 years before the birth of Christ. Now, during Hanukkah, on each of the 8 nights, a candle is lit in a special menorah, or it would be like a candelabra, called a Hanukkah. A special blessing thanking God is said before or after lighting the candles, and a special Jewish hymn is often sung. The menorah is put in the front window of houses so people passing by can see the lights and remember the story of Hanukkah. Hanukkah, of course, is also a great time for giving and receiving presents, and gifts are often given one a night for those 8 nights. Yeah. And again, all of these celebrations are about remembering our humanity. Next is Kwanzaa. And Kwanzaa, which goes from December 26th to January 1st, is a remembrance for Black people here in this country, but it carries around the world to the African diaspora because it's a Pan-African celebration, that we are not disposable. Yeah. It was, how can I say it? You know, it's not so much created, but almost like it was uncovered. It was uncovered by Dr. Malulani Karenga, PhD, who's currently the professor and chair of African Studies here at University of California in Long Beach. And he uncovered this in 1966. A lot of people don't realize that. It's been around for a while. And this holiday, this Pan-African holiday, celebrates family, community, and culture. It speaks to the best of what it means to be African and of African origin and human in its fullest sense. Kwanzaa is a time for remembrance of the 7 principles for living on purpose, also called Nguzo Saba, which is our Swahili words, and the 7 principles are in Swahili. So the first one is umoja, which means unity. The second is kuji chagulia, which is self-determination. The third is ujima, which is about collective work and responsibility. Then there is number 4, Ujamaa, which is cooperative economics. Number 5 is Nia, which means purpose. Number 6 is Kuamba, which is for creativity. And last but not least, number 7 is Imani, which means faith. Yeah. Yeah. And so the final remembrance celebration festival for this week of course, is Christmas on the 25th, which is the remembrance of the birth of the Messiah, Jesus Christ, and the promise of peace on earth and goodwill to all humans. Yeah. So again, just very, 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 very special time that we're living in. Very potent time. And so I really hope that you, despite whatever distractions or partying or whatever's going on, that you do take some time, if you're not doing one of these celebrations, but that you do take some time for yourself to just get still and just really, really allow yourself to think about the changes that you want to achieve in life, and to know that there's this loving energy in the universe that wants to support you in doing that. Yeah. Now, one last thing before I jump into the meat of tonight's program is that today is the 22nd of December, which is also what I've declared as Earth Day. And like last week, I suggest that you go out and hug a tree today, and also say a prayer for the earth and its inhabitants, and especially that the human inhabitants wake up and stop making this a place that makes it hard for everything, including humans, to live in. But that we really do take a pause and really honor our earth, honor our home every 22nd day of the month. And so happy Earth Day to you. Now, tonight I am going to spill, again, starting with the year 2020 and why we need to prepare for it. I mean, if all the stuff going on this week doesn't mean we need to prepare, I don't know what does. So those of you who have been listening in and following this, you're doing good work, really good work. I'm then going to talk about 3 common blocks to remembering purpose. I'm going to give you a contemplative spill, some contemplative questions, and then encouragement for a mineral ritual, which again is why I'm wearing white today. So my opening quote that I used was again from my book, The Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. You can find this on page 189. Knowing that you were born with a unique genius to share with the world can make all the difference in how you choose to live your life. Yeah. So again, 2020, really important. And as Greg Crawford, who I mentioned in the previous videos, Greg Crawford, an astrologer, says 2020 is the beginning of not only a new decade, but a new astrological era. And to me, that's an era for humans. As with any birthing process, the year will involve enduring labor pains in order to introduce a new life. The year 2020 is a threshold to cross, a pause between the way it has been and the way it will be, necessitating a confrontation with all the difficult challenges in need of remedy within civilization. Yeah. He says there's nothing easy about the transits of 2020, yet they also contain a potent force within to dissolve and they contain a potent force within the dissolution and volatility that they will incite. So get ready, things are going to be on fire. And he says, by actively asserting the role you wish to play in molding the world to come, the test you will face in 2020 will help you cultivate new levels of inner strength as well as new skills to share with others. So, it's like end game. You're going to go through the battle, but you're going to come out on the other end. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. That's basically what he's saying. I said that, 100 years ago, when the 20s came in the 1900s, it was a time to let's go party, let's go play, because it just came off of the end of the war to end all wars, which was World War I. They had no idea what was coming afterwards. And so now, us being a little more adulterated, a little more mature about things, I think we're at a point where this 20s, 100 years later, is about let's go to work to create a better world. Yeah, let's roll up our sleeves and create a better world. So we need to prepare for a different way of being in the world. We need to prepare for choosing love over fear. And to do this, we have to be able to connect with our souls on a daily basis. And so part of connecting with your soul is being able to do that good inner work to make sure that you are not still holding on to things that can no longer serve you. People, places, environments, food, whatever, you know. And so by connecting with your soul, you're going to be able to be more conscious and more aware of what will have you be in balance and in alignment with your purpose, because your higher purpose is so important. And your higher purpose isn't about surviving. That's not your higher purpose, you know. That might be somebody else's higher purpose, but that's not your higher purpose. Maybe somebody on another planet, but not on this planet. We really are being asked to grow through life being about survival, to life being about really fulfilling what it is each of us individually and collectively have come here to do. And of course, that is about, you know, loving ourselves and sharing that love with others. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's really what it's about. And it just will get, you know, brought out in a variety, a delicious variety of ways, whether you're a musician and who plays a flute in a symphony orchestra, whether you're a teacher in a classroom with toddlers, whether you're the person who cleans up after a concert at a big stadium, and you know, it doesn't matter. All that really matters is that you have a loving heart, And so remembering your higher purpose in life can enable you to experience fulfillment and happy endings in life. And that's the other reason why I talk about it, is I know from experience how important it is. You know, even your body and your skin color have been specifically designed to serve your higher purpose in life. Yeah, like it's no mistake you look the way you look, or your body functions the way it functions, or you're the height that you're at. It is uniquely for you and for your purpose. So the question is, why then is it so hard to remember purpose? I meet so many people who tell me, Judge, I don't know my purpose. I don't know. I go to work every day and I make money, and, you know, I own businesses, or, you know, or whatever, but I don't know my purpose. So why is that? What blocks us from moving forward to a life of purpose and not just surviving, not just making money, right? Not just making sure that we got a roof over our heads and food in our belly, but how do we get some real meaning into our life, so that we can have that inner peace and easily choose love over fear, right? Well, there are these blocks, yeah. And these blocks are really natural. This is not unnatural, this is natural. And they're there for us to confront and to deal with, because in doing that and working with them is how you're going to get to your purpose. Yeah, it's really interesting, right? How that works. So here's the first one I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about 3 of them for you. The first one is fear of loss. When you step onto the path of purposeful living, of living in a higher purpose, let me tell you, there are going to be people, places, and things that you have to let go of. For example, your eating habits may have to shift so that you can be healthier for what it is that you're being called to do. People that you thought were friends, or friends in a way that you thought they'd be around forever, well, they may not be able to support your transformation. They may not be the ones that can do that. Doesn't mean that they're bad or something wrong. It's just a reality that they can't be there for you or with you when you take this next step. And the place that you call home, it may no longer hold a high enough vibration for who it is that you are now becoming, because you have stepped into purpose. You're remembering purpose. We may even have to let go of a dream that we thought was ours. Yeah, that's a really hard one. So there's a lot of grief with all of this. And so fear of loss is justified, and it is natural, and it will occur. But it should not hold us back. It should not hold back. We just need to be conscious of it, that is going to be a block, because, nobody wants to have to step into letting stuff go and letting things go. Nobody wants to deal with loss. But, part of the journey, part of the process to get to the who you really need to be in this world will involve that. The second block is the fear of loneliness. Because your purpose is unique only to you, and although you will have both physical and non-physical support to enact your purpose, there will be time, and for some of us it's a lot of time, that you have to really walk alone. You have to spend time alone, because you've got to learn how to rely on yourself. You've got to self-master when you are on purpose. You cannot make anybody or anything outside of yourself responsible for what only you can do. And if you haven't seen the movie Dolomite, with Eddie Murphy's film Dolomite, which is on Netflix, check it out, because Billy Ray, this is what's going on for him, is that he has to really step into his purpose and not listen to what anybody else would say to detract him from it. It's just an incredible, inspiring story. And again, it's about being your unique self. And only you can determine, what your purpose really is, because to me, it's a sacred obligation between you and your God. It's your sacred contract. You really did agree to it before you came into this human realm. So it's only what you can know. Now, you can, of course, get other people to support you in it by, opening up to receiving that support, believing in that support. But you can't make somebody else, tell you what it is or tell you how you need to go about doing it. And think about it, most of the hero movies always are showing that. Like, they're showing that these people come, they can be with a group of people like the Avengers, but when it's time for them to enact their purpose, they got to do it alone, like, Iron Man with his snap, right? This is really challenging, the loneliness piece, because we are, as humans, wired to be connected. We really are wired to be connected. But the aloneness that I'm talking about is really having to go through the experience of knowing that you can do what you need to do, whether there are people around you or not. Part of what goes on too with this loneliness is that fear that we're not going to be supported, accepted, liked, understood. Who wants to be in that position, right? Who wants to be, a little boy with his finger in the dike, or a little girl with her finger in the dike, and the people are walking by saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And like, I'm holding this thing, because if I let my finger go, all this water's going to come and break and this and that, and people are like, "You're crazy. What are you talking about?" It's that kind of an experience, right? You got to stand there alone doing it. But boy, is it worth it. It is so worth it, because at the end of the day, you're really doing it for you to be in alignment with the truth of who you are, and to receive the grace of that awareness, of that knowledge. So yeah, there is this lonely piece in there, but it doesn't have to be crippling. It doesn't have to be about, I got to shut myself off from everybody and everything all the time. But there will be times when you do need to do that. Like, you got to go into your cave and do the work. Paradoxically, your higher purpose in life is why you matter to those around you, and why they matter to you. Yeah. But part of the process of being in higher purpose is that you have to be able to be okay alone with yourself and trusting in yourself more than anybody or anything, except your God, except your greater order and direction. Yeah. Now, the third fear that I think is common, and these are common, I think, very natural fears to have when we start talking about remembering purpose and living on purpose. And this one is the fear of life. Yeah. Wouldn't think that, but yeah, the fear of life, because life ain't a reality TV show. Yeah, it's not staged, it's not scripted. It is truly messy, unpredictable, dynamic, compelling, challenging, and mysterious. You know, as humans, we work very, very hard to have life be knowable and reliable, right? We want our schedule. I'm going to use the clock to make sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be there. You know, I got everything mapped out. I got to know. But real life isn't like that. And I'm sure if you think back to, just think over your week, you know, were you always able to do what it is that you intended to do that day? Or did something jump up? You know, was there something unexpected, you know, that happened? What's going on, right? Because that's how life really is. And so remembering your purpose means that you're opening yourself to becoming vulnerable to life, that you're allowing something beyond your knowing to occur. Because if you always know, think about that, all you're really doing is repeating the past, and you just stay in a cycle of repetitive stuckness. You're not really going to be able to move forward and connect with the things and the people and the situations that you need in order to be on purpose. You know, it really takes clarity, confidence, and courage to be present to your life and to what life really is. And it takes clarity, confidence, and courage to allow God to handle your details. Yeah. You know, your job is just to be willing to live in alignment with your higher self and your higher purpose for which you were born. No, just be willing. And God, your God, and the universe will take care of the rest. So, Christmas time, just an homage and a shout out to a very popular Christmas movie right now, which is called It's a Wonderful Life. And, you know, George Bailey of Bedford Falls is a great example of someone who didn't remember purpose, but was doing purpose and wasn't conscious that he was really living in alignment with purpose. And so he kept thinking that dream that he had of becoming this great engineer, this architect, was the who he really was. And as that dream dissipated and it just didn't show up, he really beat himself up about it, and he felt like a failure. And so then the work that he was doing starts to collapse. And you know the story where he tries to commit suicide. God sends his angel to say, boy, you need to look at what life would be like if you weren't here. And he gets that wonderful opportunity to see how his existence in that town, doing the savings and loan company that his father gave to him to manage, how it made such an impact on everybody around him and on him as well, for him to be the kind of person that he is, not Mr. Potter. And so it's just a really great example of that. But that's, you know, something for us to think about when we're complaining about, I don't like this isn't what I signed up for, or whatever. Really think about, though, if you weren't around, what would be happening? How would people's lives be touched if you weren't in existence? Because maybe you really are living on purpose and you just forgot. You may not be remembering. So here's some contemplative questions for you to prepare for your mineral ritual. First off, I want you to think about how are you or might you be experiencing or have experienced any of those three fears to remembering purpose. So that fear of loss, the fear of loneliness, and the fear of life, the fear of living. Next, when you move beyond these fears, right? Not if, but when, and if you already have moved beyond these fears, what do you expect your higher purpose to bring you? Or what has it already brought you? So this is growing that consciousness about, like what is this? What's my higher purpose really about? What is the treasure in living on purpose? And it's way beyond material, way beyond. And then the third contemplative question is, what are you willing to let go of to remember and live your higher purpose? What are you willing to let go of? Something to think about too. So here's the personal challenge. It's a mineral ritual, which is a spiritual practice for transforming pain with the use of minerals, which are crystals, stones, bones, shells. All of that is part of the mineral kingdom. So as you've done previously, write out on a piece of paper your answers to the contemplative questions I just shared. Then you're going to roll up that paper and tie it with a beautiful ribbon or string and place it overnight on your ancestor altar. Red cloth, red candle, and pictures or items belonging to ancestors. And you're going to ask your ancestors to guide you through the experience of remembering purpose. Or if you're like me and you know your purpose, you're already on purpose, I go to them to be supported in not forgetting my purpose, because we can be we can be distracted and think like, oh, I don't have to do this, or there's something more. No, we need that support. So the next day, in a sacred manner, you're going to place your bundle under or near some rocks, some stones, or out in the mineral kingdom, like Rib Mountain in Wausau, Wisconsin. Oh my God, it's one of the best on the planet. Now, if you already have a mineral altar, of course, you can use that. And of course, if you don't have one, you can create one. Clear quartz would be very, very helpful in this process, because clear quartz is about that energy to really bring in a higher vibration for clarity and for remembering the truth of who we are. Of course, you're to remember to call on your God, your spirit guides, angels, ancestors, all your loving entities to guide you safely through this process. And I guarantee that you will notice a shift in 3 days to a week. You can also refer to chapter 18 in my book, The Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery, pointing to it right here. It'll be at the end of the video as well. So chapter 18 will give you some more details and support for the mineral ritual work. Wow. We have come to the conclusion of this episode of preparing for 2020, this time using the good mineral element. And I will, one reminder that the personal challenge will be listed below in the YouTube video. I will maybe post it on Facebook, I'm not sure, but definitely in the YouTube video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for all postings. And I thank you so much for supporting my channel. So I want to first close out by thanking my wonderful, wonderful engineer, Miss Yvette Parker, and also a shout out to the entire Black Hole Radio Be Well family for enabling me to be this beacon, sending out this broadcast, sending out this signal every week to help all of us who are ready to move forward in this work, in this important work. So thank you. I couldn't do this work without you. I want to do a shout out to all my regular listeners, especially my #1 fan and support, Ms. Sarah, who embodies the spirit of Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and Christmas on a daily basis. Yeah, she really does. And to all of those who have wisdom walked with me, and you know who you are, to my family, my spiritual kin, my transformational leadership colleagues, and my medicine brothers and sisters around the world. Also, those who may be listening or watching for the first time, I want to thank you, thank you, thank you. I couldn't do this work without you. Now, next week, I'll continue preparing for 2020 with a focus on welcome great change. And this will be the final broadcast and video for 2019. Definitely will have some information in it, as it is a final preparation for this dynamic new year that we are about to step into. My Facebook page is Wisdom Walk Radio, and again, my YouTube channel is Wisdom Walk to Self Mastery. So last but not least, I would like to thank my God, my ancestors, my spirit guides and loving entities, everything that walks with me, keeps my head to the sky, my feet to the ground, and my heart open to do this important work with and for all of you. Have an incredible Mineral Week. It's a great time for remembering the loving truth of who we are as human beings. I wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and most importantly, do remember that you are not disposable. You are divine. Good night now.